Welcome to Wrestling with Heart, a podcast looking at pro wrestlers giving back to their community. Join me, Stanley Carr, as I interview wrestling's hottest names who use their platforms as entertainers to raise awareness and do community service. Hello and welcome to another edition of Wrestling with Heart. This is the show where we talk with professional wrestlers about their lives in and outside of the ring, as well as doing acts of charity work, community service, volunteering, and spreading positivity. We're always about the positive vibes here on the show. And with me this week, I've got a very special guest. He is an ECW original, worked for a multitude of different companies over the years. I'm pleased to welcome the one and only Jack Victory. Jack, welcome to Wrestling with Heart.
Very, very glad to be here, my friend. Do you go by Stan or Stanley?
Either one is fine with me.
Stan the Man. We're going to call you Stan the Man.
All right, let's do it.
All right, cool.
All right. So talk to me about your childhood and upbringing. Where are you from?
Born and raised in New Jersey, Ocean County, New Jersey. A lot of people, the MTV Jersey Shore made that area popular. That's basically where I grew up, Seaside, Toms River, Bayville, New Jersey. I was born in Lakewood, went to Central Regional High School, graduated. Al Leiter, a lot of people who know baseball, Al Leiter, two-time world champion. He was our pitcher of our baseball team and stuff like that. So it was a pretty awesome upbringing in that particular town.
Yeah, it seems like it was. You know, the New York, New Jersey area is such a huge market for professional wrestling. Tell me your story about how you got interested in professional wrestling.
Yeah, this one's a really this one's a good one. Just like 90% of the kids growing up, you always watch wrestling, and in the back of your mind is you always want to do that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. So my junior year, I started getting, pretty big, started growing pretty big. And I can almost see the dream coming true because of my size. But I never reached out to a wrestling school or anything like that. When I graduated high school, I hooked up with Eddie Miranda, DC Drake. What's the other? Oh, that man, I forget, but they had a promotion in Pennsylvania, and they actually let me come in and started working with them, and learning the ropes. Back then, we used to have VHS tapes. That was probably way before you were born. So every match that I had, I would tape, and one day my dad, I don't know how he found out, but he found out that uh, Buddy Rogers lived in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, which, if anybody's familiar with that area, Toms River, if you go 70 straight towards Philly, you run into Cherry Hill. So one day he says, let's go to his house. And we literally went to his house, knocked on his door, and he was home. And he answered the door and invited us in. And we probably talked for, oh my God, an hour and a half, 2 hours in his house. He showed me all his championship belts and all that stuff. And uh, long story short is, I just said, do you have any pointers on how to, go to the next level? And he went into his office and he brought me a whole bunch of addresses of different promoters around the country. And in the 80s, when I broke in, it was around the 82, 83, 84 years. There was a bunch of territories, not like it is today, where it's very hard to become a professional wrestler and make money at it now. There's a lot of indies which you can make decent money, but um, to do it full time, 7 days a week, it's very small. There's a very small opportunity out there. So I was very lucky. He gave me a 4 or 5 different contacts, and had my tapes duplicated, and I sent them out. And man, it's still unbelievable. But uh, oh, I drew a blank. Bill Watts from Mid South Sports reached out to me, and they flew me in, gave me a tryout in Houston, Texas. We did a Bill's famous for double shots. I think we did Houston, Texas, and Shreveport, Louisiana. I'm pretty sure, and they sent me back home, and about 3 weeks later, they called me with a starting date, and they gave me my starting date. So that's basically how
Yeah.
I broke into business.
I mean, it's exciting, and who knew that somebody like Buddy Rogers was like almost
Yeah,
like a
the
next
nature.
door neighbor
I know.
getting to
It's
getting
the
to
strangest thing.
yeah, I mean, one road leads to another. You're a fan watching, idolizing these people, and you get to meet
Yeah.
your heroes. Who are some of the people that you grew up watching that just caught your eye?
Oh, I mean, the number one go-to guy who I was fortunate to wrestle before he passed, but the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. You know, when I was a young pup, every summer my aunts and uncles lived down in West Palm Beach area, so every summer I would go down there, and me and my cousin would go to the West Palm Beach Auditorium every Monday. They would have Florida Championship Wrestling, and during the summer, that's where Dusty hung out. That was, I mean, he was a huge draw uh, during the summer for the Florida Championship Wrestling. So that's the man. That's the man who got me motivated and started.
I mean, who could forget the battles with Ric Flair?
Oh,
Uh,
just amazing. Just you look back at and you go, man, just what an amazing career.
and the amount of people that he trained and taught years later down the road was really just an influential figure in
Yeah,
the industry.
he would never blow anybody off. You know, he would always take the time, tell you what you're doing right, tell you what you're doing wrong. Um, just just a great guy, and you know, it was amazing when me and Carino was together in ECW, and Paulie told us that he was bringing in Dusty, and it was like, holy crap! You know, I can't believe I'm finally going to be able to meet him. And then finally, we got to wrestle him a couple times, which was even an icing on the cake. You know,
I think it's fascinating that some of the people like you'd never expect in ECW actually showed up in ECW,
right,
even if it was just for a cup of coffee, like Dusty Rhodes, like Scott Hall.
right.
Just even that it
Jake came in. He did a couple shots with us, and yeah. Everybody. We were we were kind of a small promotion, but we had a really cult following, and everybody wanted to come and work with us. You know, it was pretty cool.
it was definitely a pop culture phenomenon because without
Yes,
ECW, you wouldn't have the Attitude Era, you wouldn't have the Monday Night Wars even
right,
because of
right.
how huge that promotion was.
So you're so right. You were so right. They brought wrestling into a different direction, you know, and it was probably the best time for wrestling to me anyway.
Now, when you got your foot in the door, you broke into the business. Walk me through the training process because when you become a professional wrestler, I mean, you take some bruises, you take some bumps in there. It's no joke.
Well, I started in the right territory because Bill Watts, like I said, he did that man never took a day off. We worked 7 nights a week, but on the weekends we did double shots. So we literally did 8 shows a week, and he had some amazing talent uh, coming through that territory at all times, and none of the boys would ever say no if you asked them to watch a match and say, you know, critique it. And it was just a really great territory to break in at.
What was it about that territory that you really took away from your time there, like pieces of advice or just things that you kind of picked up while you were there?
Yeah, I mean, it was just, you know, going in as basically a green boy, who was still a wrestling fan, to get to do what I did and accomplished, um, was just was an amazing story. Um, but just the guys, we traveled up and down there. We didn't fly anywhere. We drove everywhere. The Saturdays and Sunday shows were double shots. You literally, if you wrestled the first match, you literally had to jump in your car with your gear on and drive to the next town and open up that show while this show was still going on. Um, but not one person ever treated me bad and told me no. Buzz off, kid. You know what I mean? But back then there was a lot of respect. I would go in the dressing room, I would shake everybody's hands. How you doing tonight? Blah 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 blah. So that's the biggest thing I can take is the respect back then. A lot of today is you know guys have their own dressing rooms, they have their own tour buses. You know, uh, you roll into a WWE show, and five, six, seven guys are in their buses. I mean, there's no locker room love anymore. I would say, you know. So, uh, you know, back then it was pretty cool. The locker rooms. It was a pretty cool thing.
Who have been some of your favorite opponents to work with over the years and some of the people you may have even teamed up with over the
Oh
course
my
of your
goodness.
career?
This podcast is not long enough, dude. I've wrestled so many people and really had some great matches. One guy everybody knows is Shawn Michaels. He broke in basically when I broke in, and we basically taught each other how to work because
Hmm.
with Watts back in the day there was no internet, so you literally can watch wrestle the same guy night after night after night. The only marks that knew that you would wrestle in the same guy was the ones that drove town to town to town, and usually those weren't didn't really expose the business, but you literally can work the same guy, 5 nights in a row without anybody saying anything. Now it's you pick your nose and it's on the internet, in 30 seconds flat, so
Like, hey, I'm wrestling so and so. I gotta go look on my phone to see how the styles are.
yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. It's a different era now, man. It's crazy. Everything you do, everything you say, is on display for everybody to see.
Yeah, it's at your fingertips.
Yeah.
But we touched on ECW a little bit earlier. When you were in ECW, who were some of like your favorite opponents to wrestle for the company?
Oh God, we just a short story before I got to ECW. It was I got out of the business and I started managing clubs in in Atlanta area, and Tommy Dreamer and Paulie came uh, to hang out with me, and then I went to one of their shows in Marietta, and he they invited me to come back, and that's how I got back into professional wrestling, and went back into that hell because ECW, what a trip, man. Man, I mean, we beat the crap out of each other. We really
Oh yeah.
did. My first opponent back from 3 or 4 years of not wrestling was New Jack,
Oh.
smashing guitars over my head, going through tables. That crazy ass jumping off of building, 20 feet in the air, landing on you. If any of you say that don't hurt, try it. A grown man jumping 20 feet on top of you onto a wooden table, that hurt. So,
Oh, without
it was,
question.
yeah. So, that was probably one of the coolest territories and locker rooms that I ever been around. Those all those original ECW guys they're special people.
I mean, talk about legends. You got yourself, you got New Jack, you've got Tommy Dreamer, the Sandman, the Dudley
Yes.
Boys.
Yeah, yep. I see these guys. We just did a wrestling convention in North Carolina and at WrestleCon, and there was a bunch of them there.
I was there.
Oh, were you there?
I was at
It was great
WrestleCade.
to.
Yes.
Oh, you were at Wrestle. Okay, so I got to see Devon after a bunch of years, and he still looks great. My God, he
Mhm.
stays in shape. So
He
um,
definitely does.
I saw his when Devon I, I saw the two twins when they were little kids, little babies, and now they're wrestling. It's crazy.
Yeah, Terrence and Terrell, I believe those are their
Terrell,
names.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, I remember them running around with dirty diapers, and now they're doing drop kicks and stuff like that. So it makes you feel old, but it it's pretty cool.
They're killing it. They're really
Yeah.
incredibly
It,
talented athletes.
yes.
Now you were in the company until 2001, until it closed.
Till it
Is that
closed. Yeah.
right?
Sad day. Yes. Yeah. We were there. The later part of the years of me and Lou from the Dudleys, Lou, sign guy Lou, we started doing promotional work for Paulie behind the scenes and stuff like that. So that was pretty cool. That was a pretty cool different side of the business.
Yeah, you learn different things in all aspects. I know when I've talked with people on the podcast before, they talk about in wrestling school, you don't learn just how to be a wrestler. You learn about commentary, you learn about setting up
Yeah,
the ring, you learn about managing. You get like a different experience when you're
yeah.
on the
I was
outside.
invited. Yeah, um, good friends. We'll always be friends. We'll be friends until I die. Steve Carino. He's still one of the producers and trainers down at the Performance Center.
Yep. Mhm.
So a couple years back, he invited me to come and do a week of training with some of the guys down there. And I'll tell you what, man, those guys and girls have it made. What what a place. I mean, it was amazing. They have thousands and thousands of hours on tapes to for people to learn how to do interviews and stuff like that. Just really amazing place.
It's definitely become a machine.
Yeah.
Definitely become a machine, and it's turned out some wonderfully talented individuals.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, it was probably Triple H's brainstorm to do something like that. But every one of them at the training center, just really good, very good talent, very good people, very respectful. Um, it's a great place.
Yeah. Let's kind of switch gears and talk about
Sure.
some of the stuff that you've done outside of wrestling. You've done a lot of charity work, community service over the years.
Correct.
What kind of organizations have you partnered up with? And tell me about some of the experiences that you've had.
Do- Well, I drive a big truck now. I drive a big flatbed truck in the state of Florida. I don't leave the state of Florida. I live in Daytona. So my number one place is Halifax Humane Society.
Hmm.
And what I do is I go and pick up one of the dogs and actually bring him on the road with me. So and you know he, we sleep in the truck together, and it's basically just you know them to get them out of the kennel and stuff like that, and let them see the country, and I've had really good success with them getting adopted. So
Hmm.
it's a pretty cool thing.
What made you want to get involved with that?
I don't know. It just, sometimes it just comes in your brain, and you just want to reach out and help. And I thought it would be a pretty cool gimmick. Truck work is boring. It's just me in the truck. So if I have a co-pilot, a furry co-pilot over there, they keep you on your toes.
What was it about truck driving or working with your trucks that's something else you wanted to pursue outside of the business?
I just love the road. When you're born, when you're a young pup at 18, getting thrown into the wrestling business, and you live in a suitcase for 20, 30 years. Um, I just love the road,
Yeah,
you know.
you get used to it.
Yes. Yep.
You get used
It's
to it.
not for everybody, because a lot of guys got divorced, a lot of not being home all the time, you miss a lot of things, but it's what you choose to do.
With this job, are you a pet lover as well? Has this job made you
Yeah,
like
well, I mean, I have three rescue. I can only have cats because sometimes I'm away from the house, and you leave food and water for them, and they're okay. Um, but dogs, they have to come on the road with me. So I'm right in the middle right now. I'm thinking I'm going to go get one next week and bring them on the road with me, because I don't know. It's probably a problem all over the country, but Halifax probably has 90 dogs.
90
Wait, yeah,
dogs?
yeah, it's a huge place, and they're overbooked, and it's man, it's crazy. People have to get them babies fixed. They're
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's a problem all over the country, but it's cheap to get them neutered. It really is. It's cheap nowadays. That it's almost nothing. So
Well,
that is a huge problem.
animals definitely need a home. Dogs definitely need a home too. So
Absolutely,
it's
yeah,
awesome that you're able to do that.
yeah. Just I'm just one little person. There's a lot of great volunteers that do what I do, and yeah, it takes a huge community to help. That's for sure.
Why do you feel passionate about helping out in your community?
It's just you got to give back. You know, um, there you're never going to succeed or feel good in your heart if you sit on your couch eating bonbons, playing video games all day. Just go volunteer for an hour. You don't have to bring a dog home. You can go and you can walk the dogs. Just go in and just hang out with them. you know um they never asked to be put in a cage. You know what I mean? A lot of people are, you know it's expensive to feed a dog now. A bag of dog food's $100, and that might last you a month. So
Wow.
it's gotten pretty expensive out there. So a lot of people are giving their dogs up for adoption. So yeah, it takes a small army to achieve.
Definitely does. Well, Jack, this has been wonderful getting the chance to speak with you and our listeners and viewers here on YouTube that are watching this. Where can people find you on social media?
Well, the most of the time I'm on that Instagram. It's I think it's Jack Victory 82 is my Instagram thing. So if anybody wants to reach out, ask me any questions or anything, just let them. I answer everything. You know that you sent me a message, and I pretty much answered you pretty quick. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you for coming on, and you're
All right,
more than
Stan.
welcome
Thanks,
to come
buddy.
back.
Absolutely. Just let me know when if you need anything in the future. Okay.
Will do. Take
All
care.
right. All right. Thanks, Stan.
Bye bye.
All right, buddy.
This is Wrestling with Heart. I hope you found this podcast to be informative and entertaining. If you did, please hit the subscribe button and look out for the next edition.